Three, two, one, Star Trek! Welcome to class. The philosophy of Star Trek is something like, imagine if we all came together and put our differences aside. Imagine how much we could achieve if we were all willing to come together, whether your skin is black, white, green, or purple. And that's what Starfleet represents. Starfleet represents, what if we, in our differences, came together and tried to further the advancement of humanity. However, then we have the Borg. And the Borg are very dangerous because they're trying to achieve something very similar to Starfleet. They're also trying to bring everyone together to try and advance society. However, the difference is that the Borg are trying to do it by turning everyone into a Borg, a mindless drone, a cog in the machine that runs the Borg collective. Where Starfleet celebrates the differences between cultures, the Borg tries to eliminate the differences between cultures. Starfleet says that you're useful no matter what or who you are. The Borg say you're useful, but only if you give up who and what you are. The Borg Collective says you're useful, but only as part of the machine. And here's the thing, we might be tempted to think that the Borg Collective is more effective than Starfleet. After all, there's no infighting. Everyone's minds are literally synced together, so there's no room for misunderstanding. It sounds great. Being a Borg sounds great. If we all just think the same and behave exactly as we're supposed to, when we're supposed to behave that way, you would think that would be a lot more effective than Starfleet, where these different cultures are trying to mesh together and they just aren't quite entirely compatible. But here's the problem with the Borg. You have an army of Borg drones that do exactly what they're supposed to. But the Borg don't have time for humor. They don't have time for philosophy. They don't have time to ask questions. And at the end of the day, there's only one person who is allowed to express themselves as a Borg, and that's the Borg Queen. And the Borg Queen is also the only person who ends up benefiting from the work of all the drones. The Borg Queen simply shapes everyone else into what the Borg Queen wants to further her own goals, and everything is left as just a product of the Borg Queen. So let me ask you one question, and that's, would you rather be a Borg, where you're just a drone pushing the will of the people in charge of you? Or would you rather be part of Starfleet, where maybe you don't look exactly like everyone around you, maybe you don't behave exactly like everyone around you, but that is actually what makes Starfleet strong, is that there is so many differences. For example, if I pulled up a picture right here, when you look at it, your eyes might immediately go to the trees. And you might say, that's a picture of trees. However, my mind might immediately go to the water and say, it's a picture of water. So if we have your point of view and my point of view together, we are actually able to come together and see a more full picture. Now, I want to end this little video by asking the question, when it comes to churches, do our churches behave as the Borg, or do they behave as Starfleet? Paul uses the metaphor of the church being the body of Christ. and every body part has a different function. But when they come together, it's a complete body. So I think instead of trying to get everyone to dress the same and behave the same in the church like a Borg would do, what we ought to do is celebrate each other's differences, because through us coming together with different people, we're able to do so much more than if we tried to cram everyone into the same rigid box of what a Christian is supposed to look like. Now, before you start crying out heresy, I'm not talking about our sinful differences, which obviously we want to eliminate much of our sin as Christians. I'm just talking about personality differences, right? I know a lot of people that are church people that would prefer if every Christian dressed the same way, but I don't think that's beneficial. That's sort of the point of this video, that, and I want to talk about Star Trek. Now, that's all. Thank you for watching. I would like to hear if you have any thoughts about my sort of analysis about the Borg and about Starfleet. I would like to hear if you have a different sort of opinion about how I sort of applied these things to the church. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you're thinking about everything I said. And if you're interested in videos of just, weirdo, nerdy Christian me, just sharing my random thoughts about science fiction and sort of the way it connects to our Christian lives and philosophy and as a whole, that's what this channel is all about. I know it's a lot of weird things just put into one weird soup, but some people like weird soup. I put Mountain Dew in my soup. Anyway, like this video. There's another video from the channel up there. That one's recommended specially for you. And yeah, you can subscribe right there. And I hope to see you in our next class. Class dismissed.